player. I've been broke as a joke, I've been a money maker. I've been a record breaker, taking credit as an educator. I've been known to spit the flows and make it shaky, shaky thing. Popping, locking, stopping, let it hang. Watch us as we drop this hip hop, it's like it stings. We make a whole room drop and everybody saying, we want the funk. We gotta have that funk. We kick it old school, we think we're so cool. We take it back to the past, we gonna act a fool. Up jumps the middle finger, make my Jaeger.
Hello, 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 and welcome to Sports Buzz, the Fanatical View. I am your host, Scott D. Lewis, here live in studio, Comcast Cable, Channel 23, downtown Danbury, Connecticut. On what was a nice kind of day, but then the skies just opened up moments ago. Little shower. But I think tomorrow, 75 degrees, baby, in the 70s. Saturday in the 70s. It could cool down again after that, but, you know, we'll take at least a couple days as we try desperately to get out of this never-ending winter. There were snow flurries.
Yes, I know there was, but thank God it's finally, hopefully, gone.
Is it?
I hope
Is it,
so.
Bob? It was only 2 days ago.
I know, but hopefully winter is finally out of our hair.
It is April 12th, which is my nephew Sam Ward's birthday, so let's wish him a happy birthday. Typically by his birthday, we don't have to be worrying about snow, but I don't know. Just 2 days ago, there were flurries coming down. Tomorrow and Saturday should be nice, and maybe that will be the start of something new. How about that, Bob? We'll go with that theme. Start of something new. Spring is in the air. Everything's fantastic. Let's say hello to my right-hand man, Mr. Bob Broad Jr. How you doing there, bro?
Scott?
I'm doing okay. You know, the weather was cheering me up a little bit today. And,
Yes, it was.
You got dumped on as you were walking in, so I didn't
Yes.
see the rain, but you said it started coming down. Bob's show Spotlight on Tuesday nights at 9, Wednesdays at 12. Bob is heading out on vacation tomorrow,
Yes.
I believe.
Yeah, we're going.
Hopefully
down
you'll get some good weather. And you're heading down. Where are you going? Pennsylvania?
Yeah, we're going down Lancaster, Amish country.
Nice. Okay.
Down Hershey.
All right. Very good.
Hopefully taking a couple of some minor league games and.
Scranton area?
Yeah, we're gonna go down to Reading.
Okay. Reading, yeah, they got baseball down there. All right. Mike Toohey is our director extraordinaire. He is in the control room. Expose Cinema, Friday nights at 9, Wednesdays at 1. We think that Mike Maniac will be here at some point, and I'm sure he wants to get in and talk to us about his and Bob's amazing Mets.
As they are
the best team in baseball. Record-wise, at least, off to the best start in franchise history. We will get to that later.
And the Red Sox are doing well too.
Red Sox are a great start. Also, last night was not so great as they finally lost. We'll get to that as well. You know how we do it here, Bob. Playoffs and championships rate higher than regular season games.
This is true.
So we have to push baseball down the list and catch up on a couple of things we missed.
Right.
And we're going to try to go through it quick. The phone number, however, is 203-792-4101 if you would like to call and chime in on anything we're talking about or anything you think we should be talking about. Go ahead, pick up the phone, 203-792-4101. It's 30 minutes. It's fast. It moves quick, so get on the horn if you want to. But we are going to recap a couple of things. First, we missed the Final Four.
We did.
Villanova, how about that? They are now firmly the beneficiary of the blowing up of the Big East, because they apparently still get the recruits like they're in the Big East, the old Big East, and you know, they have parlayed that into championships. They also get the rankings because they beat up on the new Big East, and that gives them a great record and great seeding. And here we go, 2 out of the last 3 years now, Villanova wins the championship. They blew out Kansas in the semifinal, and then after a slow start in the championship game against Michigan, they were down early, never that big though, about 8 points or so I think was the biggest lead. By the end of the first half, they had a comfortable lead, and they blew Michigan out in the second half to walk away with it and win another championship. This was after Michigan basically ended the drama of the tournament, which was a pretty good tournament overall. A lot of good games, a lot of close games, some Cinderellas, and Loyola of Chicago was the Cinderella who was left standing in the Final Four. And they had, 8-9 point lead early in the second half against Michigan, but they faded, and that was pretty much the end of the drama in the tournament as Nova gets their second in 3 years, third overall. Of course, we remember the Raleigh Massimino days, Easy Ed Pickney, the D-Train, Dwayne McClain, all those guys winning it in the early 80s with the perfect game, basically, against Georgetown. So hats off to them. On the women's side, Bob, another stunning and shocking loss.
Oh, yes. The UConn women had...
Well, last year it was interesting because it was an all-new team. It was mostly freshmen after the great four-year run of that class that won basically everything. And it was a little surprising that they were undefeated during the regular season, beat up like they did every year. They play all the top teams. They never shy away from competition. And it was a little surprising that they were as good as they were. And then they got shocked by that buzzer beater in the semifinal against Mississippi State. This year, with that another year of experience, these second-year players, and they reeled off another undefeated season, and they were blowing teams out, all the top teams again. You thought they were going to win it, but here comes Notre Dame, their nemesis,
the Irish come out and
who they've had problems with in the past. Recently, they kind of turned that table back in their direction, but Muffin McGraw-led Notre Dame Fighting Irish got it done again, and they got it done in dramatic fashion. Notre Dame was up early. UConn then went ahead, but couldn't put them away. Then Notre Dame was up 5 with about 25 seconds left, and miraculously, UConn forced overtime. And then they were down 5 again in overtime, and they tied it up again, almost forcing double overtime, but no. Arike Ogunbowale.
I know that's a lot of.
I think maybe I got it right. In what was the first of back-to-back amazing finishes for her, hits the buzzer-beating about 18-footer inside the arc, 2-point shot to beat them at the end of overtime. And then in the championship game against Mississippi State, the team that knocked UConn off last year, she hits basically
the same,
a kind of fall away, hand in the face, tough 3-point shot at the buzzer to win the championship. So the Fighting Irish of Notre Dame win the championship, knocking off the Lady Huskies. And I think some of these girls now are going pro after their second year, right? Unlike the previous 4-year run.
We have a call.
All right, let's get to it. Hello, this is Sports Buzz. You are on the air live.
Hey, Scott, how are you? Strange Man here.
Strange Man, how's it going? Strange Man, we got a lot to get to tonight, so let's make it quick. What do you got for us?
First of all, I want to thank the fire department for knocking down the beach house fire on Town Hill yesterday.
Oh, you're welcome.
When they got on there on scene, they knocked that thing down in 3 or 4 minutes. So outstanding job by the fire department.
Another tremendous job by Bob and his boys and all the firefighters out there.
Yeah, I was looking at it through my window, and I tell you, that thing was really going. But when they got on the scene, they really knocked it down. You know, anybody that pays taxes, don't complain about the taxes you pay, because these first responders
are tremendous. All right, what do you got?
I want to speak baseball, okay?
All right.
Okay, opening day, the last time I called, it was,
Yes, and the Red Sox were blowing that lead, and they hadn't lost a game since until last night.
Yeah, well, anyway, I got a few stats there. Because of the weather, the Cubs played first, so I guess the first game was a home run, right, this year?
That's true. As a matter of fact, that is a good stat. You are correct. The first pitch. And when was the last time that was done, Strange Man? I heard this on a...
last time it was done was by Dwight Evans against
Dewey
Tigers 32 years ago.
Jack Morris. And Dwight Evans said after he hit the home run on the first pitch that he thought about it all winter long because he knew Jack Morris was going to throw a first pitch strike. And he did, and he hit a home run. Dewey, an underrated player, offensive player, great player. Everybody knows how great a defensive player he was.
The next one is I have about George Springer's home run on the first pitch he saw. And listen to this, he did the same thing last year.
Really?
Now, that was the first time ever in Major League Baseball that a player did that back-to-back season.
And that's a Connecticut kid, George Springer.
Yes, he is.
So, and, okay, listen, the fourth thing, did you talk about Rusty yet?
Rusty Staub? Yeah, we talked about him the other week. We were here that day.
Well, anyway, did some research, and I just couldn't believe what I was reading.
Yes,
And,
tremendous career.
Yeah, I got it right here. When you talk about a guy, he was an incredible guy. You know, I mean, when 911 hit, he had his, you know, his charity, and the men Yankees donated one game of salary that came up to $450,000 just for one game, but it went into Rusty's charity, and he raised much more of that for first responders in the New York area. So, you know, I can't believe, you know, what he did. That's just through his playing, and then, you know, after his playing days.
Yeah.
But I do want to bring up the fact that in the 72 season, what happened was in 72 with the Mets, this is, you know, primarily with the Mets, he got hurt. And,
yes, he did.
He fractured his right wrist. The X-ray showed broken bones, so he had the surgery. He was out till September of 72. And then that injury never quite healed. Now, what happened in 73, he got hit again on the left hand this time, early in 73. But he still led the team in ribbies. Now, a lot of people don't realize this, but in the National League Championship Series against the Cincinnati Reds, probably 3 home runs and had 5 runs batted in. But
Yes. Well, if you were listening to the show the other week, you would have heard that. We mentioned that very stat.
Okay, game 4, when he hit the fence, when he robbed Danny Dreesen, extra base hit in the 11th inning, he separated his right shoulder.
Yeah, so that hurt them, and he suffered. He didn't play well in the World. He was injured, played through the injury in the World Series.
Yeah, so he was forced out of the lineup for game 5, and that's when Tom Terrific pitched that gem. And then Tom won that game 5, and they won the pennant in 5 games.
Yeah.
But in World Series, Staub was out of game 1. He returned to the lineup for game 2, but he had to throw underhanded. He was very weak.
Unbelievable.
Listen, despite the injury, he batted .423 against Oakland in the series that year.
Unbelievable.
And 6 runs batted in. 73, although injured.
All right, Strangeman. All right, Strangeman. We got a ton to get to. We love Rusty Staub. We went over a lot of this stuff 2 weeks ago.
Anything else?
73 uninjured, 75.
I'm gonna keep going.
105 batted in the first match. Never did that, and they was traded the next year.
Yep.
And a lot of people may not know that.
Mets maniacs here.
I just wanted to bring that up.
All right, great job, Strangeman. You want to hear my Dwight Evans story since you mentioned Dwight Evans?
Yeah.
Dwight Evans, go ahead. Shoot, go ahead.
So Dwight Evans finished his career in Baltimore, right? He went there for his final season. I went to Fenway Park to see him play as an Oriole, and he was, never known for his speed. He was facing Roger Clemens. He hit a ball into like the triangle in deep center field, inside the park home run, and I was there. Dwight Evans in his final year at whatever age he was.
Right.
Unbelievable. And I was sitting next to a row of about 20 nuns who were all from Baltimore who came up from the game. And they blessed us, and that's the only way we got home that day, because there was a lot of beer being drank.
That's a great story.
That was at Fenway.
And Dwight that was his last year?
Yeah, he finished his career with the Orioles, surprisingly. He was one of my favorite players of all time, but it was a shock to see him hit an inside-the-park home run off Roger Clemens. Crazy. All right, Strangeman, we got to go. We got a lot to get to.
All right, take care.
Thank you. Strangeman, he's on top of it. He's ready to talk baseball. All right, we covered the Final Four. Let's move to the Masters.
Yes.
Hello, friends. It was Patrick Reed getting it done. His first time, another first-time winner. I think this is like 4, maybe 5 years in a row.
Yeah, it is.
Where we've had a first-time major winner winning at the Masters, and it was Patrick Reed this time. There we see Sergio Garcia, who handed him the green jacket after, at the end of the tournament. Sergio won last year. How about Sergio going 13?
Yes.
What was it, hole number 12 or
Yeah.
something? Unbelievable this year. He pulled a tin cup situation. Terrible. So he was never in contention, didn't make the cut, I don't believe. And there we see Rory McIlroy, who was already lined up to give a charge to Patrick Reed on the final Sunday. He missed that eagle putt, short putt, on hole 2 and went downhill from there. He never really challenged. Jordan Spieth, we see right here, unbelievable Sunday performance. It came from nowhere. He was down 9 strokes, and he pulled even at one point. And he bogeyed 18, took him out of it, and then Ricky Fowler also was right there. He did birdie 18 and made Reed have to par 18 to win it without a playoff. So Patrick Reed got that done. It was a pretty nice weekend. It was nice to watch some golf. Speaking of spring, the feeling like spring, seeing some nice weather. The course down there looked amazing, so that always puts you in the mood for spring, much like baseball. Some other things that happened this week: the second leg of the quarterfinals of the Champions League soccer tournament in Europe. Unbelievable last 2 days as Roma stunned Barcelona. They had lost 4-1, and these qualifiers in each leg is an aggregate goal situation. So they were down 4-1 going into this game. They lost 4-1 at Camp Nou in Barcelona. The Barcelona fans never thought in a million years they would lose this game. They never gave Roma any respect. Roma beat them 3-0, and they get the 1 goal on the road at Camp Nou last week, which the tiebreaker was the tiebreaker. So in aggregate, it finished 4-4, but they scored 1 road goal. Barca did not. So Messi is out. It was a stunner. And then yesterday, a second day in a row, it looked like an Italian team was going to stun a Spanish team, as Real Madrid had beaten Juventus 3-0 last week. Juventus was up 3-0 in this game, looking for extra time or penalty kicks. And then the unthinkable happened, a penalty right here on that play. I think it was a questionable call. There's debate as to if it was or not. Of course, with 30 seconds left in stoppage time, you never, ever want to see it go to a penalty kick. It was ridiculous. And then one of the most famous and well-decorated goaltenders of all time, Gigi Buffon,
gets the boot,
argues with the ref and gets the unthinkable red card, kicked out of the game. Unreal. After the game, he said the ref had a trash bin in place of a heart, and he was stunned and shocked and dismayed, and Juventus fell as Ronaldo kicks the penalty kick to win it with about 30 seconds left in stoppage time, and Real Madrid goes through. Liverpool and Bayern Munich are also through. Really some intense action. If you're a soccer fan and you're missing some of these games, you should be tuning in. The round of 16 was intense. The quarterfinals were intense. Now we're set for the semi, which will start, I believe, in a couple weeks. NHL playoffs are set and underway as of last night. The Bruins did not do themselves any favors by losing their final game against Florida, so they fall to the 2 spot. And with the way that the playoff seedings go, it's not 1 through 8. Remember, Bob, when they redid the leagues?
Yes, I remember. And
which was a joke because they put 16 teams in the West, 14 or 16 teams in the East, bringing Detroit in, which they never should have took out of the West. 14 in the West. Now there's 15 in the West with the Las Vegas Knights. But still, they screwed that up terribly. They did this thing with the seeding where they were going to keep it in division for the first round matchups. They said that was temporary, Bob. I remember this very specifically. They said that was temporary, and I think think everybody forgets that, and they've just decided to keep it that way. So now you have a situation where the Bruins have the second best record in the East, And the reward is they get to play the team with the third best record in the East instead of the seventh best record in the East.
Yeah, because it used to be always 1-8.
1 through 8.
And
the Bruins had one of the top teams overall, and they get no reward. They have to play a rival Toronto, who is going to be looking to get revenge from about 5 years ago when the Bruins broke their heart with, remember that 3-goal rally in the final 5 minutes of the game? Broke Toronto's heart. Toronto hasn't had any playoff success in an eternity, so they're definitely chomping at the bit to get through, and this is the Bruins' reward. I won't make any excuses because the Bruins have had a great year, and they should just continue to play great and get it done. Things were a little derailed for them down the stretch with injuries, but most of their guys are back. So hopefully that'll be the case. Your Rangers, we know, didn't make the playoffs, but they also lost their coach.
Right.
Elaine Vigneault is out. They'll be looking for a new coach. So it's the Bruins versus Toronto. It's the Devils making it in. They did hold off Florida in that late race. They get to take on the top seed Tampa, the Caps, and take on Columbus. And I do believe that's a matchup of a former coach versus a former team.
I believe so, too.
I do believe the Caps coach is the former coach of Columbus. And the Penguins, in a nice regional matchup, get to take on the Flyers. That series started last night. By the way, the Penguins took that first game 7-0. Unreal. So maybe the Penguins, who kind of sleptwalked through the regular season, will get their situation geared back up. They've won 2 in a row, right? Are they the back-to-back defending champs?
Yeah, but I
don't want to see that again.
No,
we don't want to see that again.
No.
Out west, 3 California teams got in. Colorado got in late. The Avalanche kept coming. They did get in. So it's the Predators versus the Avs. Avs knocked out St. Louis and Dallas in the final week. Predators, remember, made it to the finals last year. Winnipeg versus Minnesota. That's kind of an interesting, northern, mid-east United States versus a Canada team.
Right.
That's kind of an interesting one. Winnipeg did win game 1 3-2 last night. Ducks and Sharks, a California matchup. And the Vegas Golden Knights, in their first year, beat the LA Kings 1-0 last night to take a 1-0 lead. The NBA playoffs are set as the final game of the regular season took place last night. And in overtime, Bob, it was the Minnesota Timberwolves making it back to the playoffs for the first time in, I believe, 15 years. It was the big ticket, Kevin Garnett leading them last time. And it took overtime to knock off the Denver Nuggets. So the Colorado Avalanche made it in, but the Denver Nuggets did not. 112-106 overtime game. I watched the final fourth quarter, and overtime in that game was pretty good. So the T-Wolves get back in as the 8th seed. It took until the second to last game for the Spurs, Pelicans, and OKC to clinch. They all made it in. So the final week was pretty frenetic. Speaking of New York teams losing their coach, Jeff Hornacek is gone. Do you think in like 3 years from now, if you asked anybody who was the Knicks coach,
nobody will remember.
Anybody will even remember? Do you think if you asked anybody today who the Knicks coach was the last 2 years?
They will remember.
Would anybody know?
No, and they wouldn't care.
Nobody would care. Unbelievable. The Knicks are so irrelevant, it's pathetic. How about this? The Philadelphia Sixers have won 16 straight.
I know, they're doing well.
They're the 3 seed in the East. They jumped over the Cavs at the 4. Pacers are the 5, so the Cavs play the Pacers. The Heat beat the Raptors in overtime last night, so they jumped up to the 6th seed. They will play the Sixers. Bucks got blown out by the Sixers last night, so they fall to 7. They will play the depleted, injury-plagued Celtics, who still remain number 2 despite their injuries. And the Wizards lost in Orlando last night to fall to the 8th seed. What is going on with the Wizards? That is a very intriguing matchup. They get to take on Toronto. I mean, the Wizards still have talent, Bob.
Oh, yeah.
Unbelievable. They fall to 8. That's kind of a worst-case scenario for Toronto, the number 1 seed. Out west, it's Houston versus Minnesota. The Warriors, with their injuries, much like the Celtics, take on the Spurs, who have had a crazy injury-plagued season. Don't sleep on the fact that former UConn Husky Rudy Gay has been helping the Spurs quite a bit this year. Portland takes on New Orleans, and how about this for a former Husky? Emeka Okafor has been playing well for the New Orleans Pelicans this year. That's 3 versus 6. Portland has had a great season as well. And OKC versus another surprise team, Utah, at the 4 versus 5. All right, baseball, Bob. Your Mets have
Yes,
the best record in baseball
mine
at
and
10-1.
He's here too.
Best start ever is the Met Maniac
Yeah, he's here.
I told you guys, if the pitching's healthy and they do well,
doing well.
and you got some of these professional hitters that you brought in,
yes.
watch out. And Cespedes isn't even hitting well.
No,
as
he's
we
not.
see him right there, but some of the other guys doing well. They've rallied for some wins this week against the Marlins. They swept the Nats in D.C. That's always impressive. I don't care what time of year it is. So they're 10-1 in their division. The Braves 7-5, Phillies 6-5, Nats 6-6, Miami not doing well, 3-9. In the National League, some of the top teams right now: Pittsburgh 8-3, Arizona 9-3. We'll see how it goes, but it is early. But how are you feeling about your Mets there, Bob?
I think I'm feeling great.
I mean,
We
you
both
got to
are.
be feeling good.
You know, it's the first time, like I always say, Mets are in the first place for the first part of the first month of April.
You know,
we're
it's
golden.
always better to start the season good than start the season poor.
Right.
You know, we don't know what's going to happen as the year goes on.
I mean, we already have Denard down, going possibly for Tommy John surgery, and might be up the rest of
Injuries
the
start
season.
happening, things get derailed, good feelings turn bad. We don't know, but right now, 10-1, best start in New York Amazing Mets history. So
Yes.
you got to feel good about that. The Red Sox fell to 10-2.
Yes.
So they also were right there as the top teams in baseball.
Especially with the Bronx Bummers.
Yeah, well, like we said, they hadn't lost a game since they blew that opening game in Tampa. They ran off 9 straight until last night when they were down 8-1. They cut it to 8-6 with a grand slam by new Red Sox JD Martinez. They did lose 10-7, and there was the brawl, which was instigated. You know, the Yankees threw high and tight on a Red Sox player early in the game, but really the thing that instigated was Tyler Frazier, I don't even know this kid's name.
Coming up with spikes.
With a dirty play at second base, spikes high on a non-double play ball. Wasn't even like he was being aggressive, breaking up a double play. Brock Holt had his back to him, fielding a bunt. There was never a chance of a double play. He wasn't trying to turn two at all. He took his leg intentionally off the bag, spiked him in the back of the leg. Words were spoken then. The Yankee announcers said right there, well, that'll be handled on the field, and it certainly was, as Joe Kelly did exactly what he's supposed to do. Hit him in the middle of the back, did not go high at his head, did not go at his knees, drilled him exactly where he was supposed to do it, and Frazier still went nuts, slammed his helmet or his bat down, charged the mound. Kelly took him to the ground, and then everybody broke it up. We'll see what the suspensions are and all that. I think it should be that kid gets a suspension, and that's it. Everything else was handled the way it's supposed to be handled. But the Red Sox 10-2. How about this, Bob? I know we only got about 30 seconds. What did you think of the Yankee fans booing Stanton in his first game ever?
He went 0 for 5.
Strikeouts.
You know, I mean.
How about this for a Strange Man Stat of the Week? I know we're running out of time. In 41 at-bats this year, Stanton had as many strikeouts as Joe DiMaggio had in the entire 1941 season.
Really?
Yeah, that's your stat right there. But I could not believe they booed him on opening day. I don't care if he struck out 10 times. You just signed this guy or traded for him. Everybody's like, he's going to be the guy with Judge. It's going to be tremendous. They booed him on opening day. Shame on the Yankees. They've been off to a slow start, but they did get the emotional win last night.
Okay.
We'll see if that turns them around.
So
we're out of
you're
here.
live
We'll
next
see you
week.
next week. And Bob will call from the road, hopefully.
Yes, I will.